Guys, welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how to relocate your differential breather on your rear axle higher up. What can happen is when you're driving through deeper water and the water makes its way over the rear axle housing, you have a differential breather right on top of the axle. This is a one-way valve that's designed to relieve pressure from the differential. As the gears in there kind of aerate the fluid, it needs to let that aeration out. What can happen though is if you submerge the diff breather, it can suck water into your rear differential and axle and cause all sorts of damage. If you get any sort of rust or debris in there, all the running gear back there can be toast. We want to prevent that. We want to make our rear differential last a long time, especially if you're like me and you just spent a lot of money on getting a re-gear and lockers in both of your differentials. I definitely want to protect my investment. To do it, takes about 30 bucks in parts, or even less if you put the kit together yourself. It takes about 30 minutes of work. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into the video. So like I said, we are putting the rear differential breather up into this area. So not only is it protected from the elements like rain, but it's also high enough off the ground to avoid getting flooded. To start out, I'm just going to take the opportunity to clean around there a little bit just so it's not as messy of a job. And this is the kit that I got. I'm going to link this in the description. This guy sells kits for 4Runners, FJ Cruisers, stuff like that. And it basically comes with all the parts you need, so you don't have to go around sourcing them yourself. Although, if you want to copy this kit and put it together yourself, that's also an option. But in my opinion, this was cost effective enough for me to just go with the kit. We're going to start out by getting a pair of needle nose pliers that are closed, or something else that rigid but also blunt. It's not going to cut this rubber, and just kind of stuff them down between the filler neck and this kind of rubbery plastic stuff. And you should be able to feed the hose down through that gap that you create. And then once you get it started, it's pretty easy just to keep it going. As you can see here, I'm going to get a little bit stuck and have to go underneath to kind of free the hose and keep it going and routed the correct way. And I'm actually not going straight down here. I'm going to go up and over the frame just to make sure everything stays away from any sort of tires or the ground. I just want to keep it protected so it doesn't get ripped out. Once the hose is most of the way fed through, it's time to put the one-way valve on the end. This is kind of the breather that's on top of your axle. And instead, of course, we're going to put this up here behind the fuel filler door. Put on your hose clamp first, and then press in the one-way valve and tighten down the hose clamp on it. It's as simple as that. And as you can see here, I was able to kind of stuff the hose around the back of the gas cap, and that's kind of the perfect place where you want it to sit. I've tried this multiple times and you're able to fill it up with fuel no problem, as if it's not even there, and it doesn't interfere with the gas cap at all. Now let's figure out what to do with all this extra hose length. And to start out, we're just routing it along the frame wherever it makes sense. For me, I'm kind of using the fuel filler neck that goes all the way down to the gas tank. I'm just routing it along there. And the reason for that is because it gives me an opportunity to have a bit of extension and retraction from that point. It's a convenient place to mount it to give the axle that free movement without worrying about it getting caught on anything. So now I'm just going to cut the line down to length and get ready to put it on that replacement nipple. Of course, I'm going to clean all around here, just again to make sure that there is nothing that's going to fall in once I take out that stock diff breather, because dirt can definitely make its way in there and I just don't want any foreign debris in there at all. So get a 14mm deep socket and go ahead and remove the diff breather. It's as simple as that. And then you're going to get your replacement nipple there. And before that, I'm just clearing all the dirt away from that opening as carefully as I can and screwing in that replacement nipple there. And if you're ever curious what's going on in here, I kind of wanted to take a look just to show myself even what it looked like in there. It looks like they got some baffles in there, which is probably a good idea. So after that, I got a 12mm deep socket and screwed everything in And of course, this is what it looks like when it's all done. And it's time to torque it down to spec. I was not able to find a spec on this, so I made up my own. Click. So with everything tightened down, that's how it should look. It should be in there solid. And then we got to bring that line kind of forward from the fuel filler neck, which I zip tied it to before, and then put the hose clamp over it just like we did on the one-way valve side, and then basically just plug it into that nipple and then tighten everything down. So I've zip tied the line in such a way that it gives the axle enough room to articulate and flex and all that good stuff, but it's also not going to be hitting anything or getting caught on anything. Everything is secured, and I just chose to run it along that fuel filler line, and it seems to be doing just fine. Now I can be confident that my rear differential investment is protected. I don't have to worry anymore about going through little water crossings that are a couple feet deep because of that. Next up, I need to make sure my engine can have the same protection by relocating the intake far above the water line. And that'll be in a future video, so make sure you subscribe. Feel free to comment, and we'll see you in the next video.